You know, we could see Mount Hood off in the distance not too long ago. We've got a little bit of valley cloud cover that has crept into the Willamette Valley this morning. It is not as widespread, it is not as thick, and it will not last nearly as long as it did on Friday or Saturday. And so consequently, will be quite a bit warmer today. In fact, I think today is day one of what is likely to be 7 days, maybe more, of 90-degree heat. So that starts today. I've got us in the low 90s. Excessive heat becomes possible by tomorrow, and an excessive heat watch is in effect for basically all of Southwest Washington and Northwest Oregon Monday through Friday, and we do think that 100-degree temperatures are possible maybe as early as tomorrow, but more likely Tuesday, Wednesday, and or Thursday. And the other point to this heat wave is that the humidity may start to creep up just a little bit on us as well. And so what that will do is it will keep our overnight low temperatures from cooling off a little bit more each night. And in fact, by the middle of the week, it could be a struggle here in Portland to get below 70 degrees for overnight lows. And that's going to make it especially difficult for folks that don't have access to cooling, to air conditioning. All right, right now our Wells Fargo sky camera once again does show some cloud cover, but you can see some bright spots in the clouds as well. Unlike yesterday morning, the cloud cover was quite thick, right? As we mentioned, this will burn off a lot sooner than it did yesterday. It's 56 in Hillsborough, we're 60 in Portland, 54 Bend, and the big picture across the state, Baker City's already had a pretty significant warm up from earlier this morning, from the 40s now pushing 60 degrees. Central and Eastern Oregon, you got a reprieve in the intense heat from last week for about 2 days. Friday and Saturday was a little more comfortable. Today we are back into the mid-90s in your location, and as I mentioned, as we get into tomorrow, that's when the heat really ratchets up. So we've got an excessive heat watch in effect for every location here in this maroon shading. And just because areas of Central and Eastern Oregon are not included in that doesn't mean that it's not going to be hot there, right? It's just these are the areas that are highlighted for potentially becoming excessive and dangerously hot. Here's a look at Futurecast. This morning, once again, our model doing a really good job of picking up the cloud cover, and also the fact that the cloud cover is thinner and will not last nearly as long as it did yesterday. Watch how quick that burns off. So we will probably be mostly sunny, if not completely sunny, by noontime today in the Willamette Valley. North to northeast wind picks up a little bit. That'll add a little bit of heating into our forecast today, and then you can see we are just completely clear as we go into tomorrow. At the beach today, morning clouds, afternoon sun. It'll be a pleasant day at the beach. And by the way, unlike the heat dome of last year, where the beach also got really, really hot, the beach will be a place to seek some refuge from the high temperatures here, because the beach, we're not going to have very strong offshore flow. So the Pacific will do some moderation of the temperatures along the coast. Inland, not the case. And in fact, as early as today, we're probably topping the century mark out towards the Dalles again. Central Oregon, toasty with temperatures well into the mid-90s today, and probably even a couple of degrees hotter tomorrow. And you can see our Futurecast model here has generally low 90s up and down the I-5 corridor. Eastern Oregon topping out in the mid-90s today and even hotter tomorrow. Okay, so here's the 7-day forecast, and I joked and said, how can you say hot 7 different ways? Well, there it is. 101, by the way, if we get there on Tuesday, would be a record. The record for Tuesday is 100, set just 2 summers ago in 2020. The rest of our records are up in the 105 to 107 category. So thankfully, we're not talking about that kind of heat.